What is good, my fellow peoples? We are back again with another video. I know it's been a good little minute, but we're back on the grind. It's time to do another Denver Broncos video, playoff edition. Let me tell y'all, it feels so good to make a video about the Denver Broncos playing a playoff game. Now, the quest for 4 begins as of this week, and the first team that's on the dock is the Buffalo Bills. Now, let me get the stat stuff out the way right quick before we talk about the X's and O's of this game. As of right now, as we speak, the Denver Broncos are 1.5 point favorite. Now, beforehand, coming into, like I say, from the weekend, coming into about yesterday, the Bills were the favorite. I think at one point, it was a 3.5 point swing in favor of the Bills. I know last time I checked, it was a 1.5 spread swing towards the Bills. Now it's a 1.5 swing towards the Broncos. The over/under is 45.5. This will be the third time that the Broncos and the Bills met up in the playoffs. First time these two teams went at it was back in the early 90s. John Elway versus Jim Kelly. AFC title game at Orchard Park, New York, which was Rich Stadium at the time. Broncos lost that one 10-7. And Elway got knocked out of that game, and Kubi had to play in the fourth quarter, and damn near got shut out, but they did manage to score a touchdown and had a chance to win the game, but didn't work out. And then the second meeting was last year. That game was also in Orchard Park, New York. The Broncos came out the woodwork, scored first, went up 7-0, and then the Bills just basically laid the hammer down on them, beat them 31-7, ended the Broncos season. Now, last year, with that situation, the Broncos were the 7th seed. They had to hold on for dear life to make the playoffs. And after 8-year absence, it felt like to me like the Broncos were just happy to be there after that absence. So I didn't really have any expectations. Anything from the wild card on was house money. So I wasn't I was a little disappointed in the outcome, but I wasn't truly disappointed because, hey, we was an underdog. We weren't even supposed to be here. A lot of people had the Broncos finishing 4, 5, maybe 3 wins. So I just took it with a grain of salt. But now this is a third meeting, and this time the roles are reversed. This game is in Denver. The Bills got to come out here to the Mile High City. And I'm going to give them props and they win last week against this past week against the Jaguars. Really good game. A lot of people bet that it's the real AFC Championship game. Let's pump the brakes on that. We're not going to go that far ahead. But nonetheless, it was a good game. Unfortunately, somebody had to lose. Unfortunately, it's the Jaguars. Now, for this to be the official, that game to be the real AFC Championship game, that means the Bills got to go to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, let's put the brakes on that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves thinking that y'all saw the real AFC title game, because who truly knows what's really going to happen the rest of the way. But yeah, I just had to get the stat stuff out the way right quick. All right, let's talk about some stuff I've been hearing, and then we're going to get into the end. It's going to segue to the game itself. Now, first and foremost, I hear two sides, of outsiders. I'm hearing the set of outsiders from the social media world, where you got some fans who are, some outsiders, and I'll talk about non-Bronco fans when I say outsiders. They're not believing. They think progression is going to come along. They so fixated on Bo Nix. They're thinking, the Bills are going to beat the Broncos. The Broncos have no chance. Blah blah blah. The offense is mediocre. Blah blah blah. This and that. The Broncos gonna be on Cancun soon, all that jazz, I'm not gonna respond to them, I'm gonna let them think that. So that's how you feel. That's how you feel. But I also hear from this other set of outsiders, from the media, and they basically telling the social media pundits, because those social media pundits really talk about the Bills winning this game. They're telling the social media pundits, hey, pump the brakes. Y'all talking about Bo Nix. y'all not even talking about the defense. That beast-ass Denver Broncos defense. I don't know the Bills are up for this challenge. They got altitude and all that. Bills gonna have that work cut out for them. So let me go ahead and break this down, because I'm going to piggyback off what the media pundits have to say, which I'm going to segue to my thoughts on how I can see this game going. Now, Grant, yes, the Buffalo Bills are a good team. They got Josh Allen at quarterback. They got Josh Allen, really good quarterback. I'm happy for him that he finally got a playoff win on the road. But there's one thing y'all are forgetting. Our defense. If you think Josh Allen is going to zip up and down this defense like last year, it's not going to happen. He's going to have his work cut out. We are the number ones. We are the number one team in sacks for a reason. Now, Houston Texans, their number one offense. Okay, you can have that. We'll see how that number one offense goes against the Patriots of Foxborough, but that's another story here or there. But the Broncos are number one in sack defense. And I'm also from a Buffalo Bills fan, and I went to do this research. The Bills have given up 41 sacks, or 40 sacks. I'll say 40 because it's 40 or 41. But I'm going to say 40 because the guy said 40. And, and the stats I read kind of included the playoffs as well. So, so they gave up 40 sacks. I think that's like middle of the road for the Buffalo Bills, which means I like my defensive line's chances over their offensive line. Now, that's not to say the Buffalo Bills offensive line is Swiss cheese, but I just don't think they're going to have a chance against our defensive line. I feel like Coop and Benito, Zach Allen, Franklin Myers, Dondre Tillman, Jones, I feel like these guys are going to be money hungry. I feel like this front seven is going to be swarming. I feel like we're going to get a couple of sacks on Josh Allen. And I feel like, in a way, that's going to possibly flip the field in the Broncos' favor. Now, also hearing through the rumblings that Dre Greenlaw has been practicing this week. So it's a chance that the Broncos may get him back going to Saturday's game. More on the Saturday part, man. But, yeah, we could be getting him back. So that's going to be a key component for our defense. Because I feel like we're getting to the point that the Broncos are basically getting back 100% healthy on defense, which has been major because I don't think the Broncos have had that situation all year. The Broncos have been hit with injuries themselves. Not as decimate as the 49ers because, God bless the 49ers, man. Shikes. But the Broncos had their fair share of injuries, so maybe it was good that the Broncos did manage to get the 1 seed and took that week off to try to get healthy, because, you want your star players to be playing come playoff time. Now the only star player in a way that would not be playing in this game will be J.K. Dobbins. But I'm also hearing that he could be returning from IR on January 25th, which would be on time for the AFC title game. That's assuming that the Broncos win this game and make it to the AFC title game. So we could be getting a little boost on offense in relation to our running game, assuming that we can try to get him back on the field. Assuming we win this game, we can get him back on the field next week for practice and see if we can try to get him game ready for the AFC title game, whether it be against the Texans or the Patriots, because we may need him. But nonetheless, we're getting healthy at the right time. I feel as if I like our secondary against the receiving corps. Now, I also read that the Buffalo Bills, they got a middle of the road offense, pass offense, I should say. So that could be an advantage for our secondary. The only thing is, Riley Moss, please, no defensive pass interferences, please. Because I stand corrected on Riley Moss. He has moments where he amazes me because he comes up with key interceptions and key deflected passes. But then at times it's like he aggravates me because it can be times where we got an incomplete pass and he commits a defensive pass interference penalty. Now, some of those can be tit for tat, but there are some that are like, you look at it again, it's like, yeah, he committed that. He can't be doing that. So that's the thing. That kind of, I'm kind of on edge about with him. Obviously, Surtain's going to be Surtain. I can see Jaquan McMillan getting an interception. He's been really stepping up to the plate this season. Now, the only other person we're going to be missing in that backfield would be Brandon Jones, but, he's kind of in and out anyway. I don't know if he's going to come back the rest of the year. But other than that, I feel like, for the most part, this team is getting healthy. Now, the real big battle, and I think it's going to be the battle that people are going to be locked in when it comes to this matchup, is their running game versus our rush defense. Apparently, like I said, I look at my stats. I try to compare stats all around, just kind of find see who has an edge and who has an advantage. The Buffalo Bills are ranked number 1 in rush offense. I know Josh Allen does have some credit to that because he does like to run the ball. But our defense is like, we got the number 2 rush defense. And I feel like we can get Josh Allen on the ground a couple of times. I keep saying we like I'm part of the team. I feel as if my defense can get Josh Allen on the ground a couple of times, which will happen. Now, how many sacks the Broncos our defense get on Josh Allen, I don't know. But I think the defense can get at least minimum 2 sacks. So I feel like that our defense has the advantage over their offense. So I feel like when it comes down to it, I think if the Broncos can neutralize Josh Allen, because I feel like he's going to be their biggest weapon on offense. If the Broncos can neutralize him and force everybody else around him to beat them, I think we're in good shape. We cannot let Josh Allen go off. But I feel like if the Broncos our defense can do a really good job neutralizing him, I feel like we're going to be A-okay in that department. But now let's flip the field, because you got the social media pundits, they're talking about our offense. Okay, so has our offense been great? No. I admit it. And I do feel like the offense will improve next season. But it's not like the Buffalo Bills defense is really, they're good, but they're not dominant. And this is where it's going to come down as far as my keys to the victory. You already know the first key that will never change. Second key, it did have something to do with the defense. That's neutralize Josh Allen. Force everybody around you to beat him. Because I feel like if you take away Josh Allen from the equation, they may get a couple of yards on the ground, but I don't think they're going to have the capabilities to really dominate on the ground. I feel like neutralize him. I feel like we'll have a good advantage over the running game. Now, as far as on the offensive side, I have no qualms with the offense. And the one thing that people seem to forget when they talk about our offense, more specifically Bo Nix, the Broncos have given up or tied for the fewest sacks given up in the NFL. Them and the Rams, they only gave up 23 sacks all year. So you got to give credit to the offensive line. And the offensive line's not gaining a lot of penalties. Yeah, they have some tit for tat here and there, but the offense has been stepping up as far as discipline. I know Garrett Bowles was kind of like, he got hurt. I forget it was either the Chiefs game or the Chargers game. But he's gonna be playing. I feel like this offensive line is gonna do a good job taking care of Bo. I don't see Bo getting on the ground. If he does, it'll probably once. But I just don't really see that being a game changer for the Bills. I do feel like the running game. What I got to say, I like R.J. Harvey. I like Jaleel McLaughlin. Can they take the pressure off of Bo Nix? Can we get some really, decent running plays? Like get some decent runs where you can get like 20 yards, 25. Can we get that? That's what I'm gonna be looking for from my offense. But the bigger picture, and I feel like this is where people can get little concerned when it comes to the offense. The offense has proven that they can move the ball. So my thing is, I need my offense to be able to move the ball and sustain drives. Now, if there's any question for me, like a real question, now I did have my question about, I did have a question when it comes to the defense. I guess because our running game, to see who's going to win the battle as far as running game. But the real question for me is, red zone. Red zone efficiency. I'm glad the Broncos won the game against the Chargers 19-3. And to be precise, that score should have been a lot more. The Broncos should have won that game by at least 31-3. But coulda, shoulda, woulda, didn't. They won 19-3. Why only 19-3 as opposed to like maybe 31 or 35-3? Their inability to score touchdowns in the red zone. The Broncos had 3 trips to the red zone against the Chargers, and one of those was gift wrap off a turnover. And they did not score a single touchdown at all. That's my question. Can we score touchdowns in the red zone? In fact, not only can we score touchdowns in the red zone, you must score touchdowns in the red zone against the Bills, because 3, 6, 9, 12, that's not going to cut against the Bills. It's not. You go out here and you go out here and stall and settle for field goals, you're going to be on your way to Cancun in a heartbeat. So you get in the red zone, you got to find a way to score a touchdown. Now, I know it's going to move back to last year in a little bit, but the first drive on offense, you need to score a touchdown. I know they did it last year, and I know people say, they did it last year, you see what happened? But I don't think the Broncos are going to be held to 7 points this time around. So, yeah, the Broncos need to score a touchdown on the very first drive on offense, because that will set a statement like, we are here to play football. We are not here to dick around and bullshit. We are here to win a football game. That's what I need to see from my offense. Sustain drives and move the damn sustain drives and score touchdowns in the damn red zone. Special teams just don't give up big returns on kickoffs and punts and give the Bills short field, and that's the only thing. I trust Will Lutz so far. He's been really good, so I'm not going to say anything about him. Crawshaw's been really good with punting the ball. We just got to make sure once the kickoff or the punt happens, just go ahead and get them down, make them work the field, make them earn a touchdown against our defense. That's going to be a key component in this game. So a third key to victory: score touchdowns in the red zone. And the fourth key, sustain. Well, first, I'm gonna flip it around. Third key is sustain drives on offense. You can win in time possession. You're capable of doing that. You can win this time possession. And then once you get in the red zone, score touchdowns. Do not settle for field goals. Now, if you blow them out and it's like late in the fourth quarter and you start stalling, then yeah, I guess you can get a field goal or two if the game is out of reach, though. But nonetheless, I feel like the Broncos have a really good chance to win this game. I feel good about it. I'm confident about it. I'm not overconfident, but I'm very confident that the Broncos should go out here and handle their business and handle their business and do what they need to do. Keep the mistakes to a minimum if you can't stop yourself from making any at all. So, but nonetheless, and also, it's Sean Payton. I know sometimes you make some questionable play calling. Don't make any questionable play calling on this offense. You gotta be aggressive, because there is no next week. You lose, you go home. So you need to throw everything out there, plus the kitchen sink. Let them know that you mean business. We trying to win. We trying to see this team win the Super Bowl. So you gotta lay it all out there. Lay an arm, lay a leg. I don't care. Just handle your business and do your job. Now, if the Broncos come out here and just extremely fuck up bad, then yes, they can lose this game. You know, I said it, and I'm gonna stick to it. The Broncos, they're capable of losing this game, going one and done, but they're also capable of making a deep playoff run. It's up to them. You know, it's up to them how they want their postseason to go. You want to go to Cancun, or you want to go to New Orleans? I think that's where the Super Bowl is at this year. New Orleans. It's up to you at this point. But I do feel good. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. So I do feel good about this game. Get them in Denver. I feel like. I also feel like that altitude, that could be a strong advantage, because the Bills players are not used to playing out in the altitude. Plus, it's been a while since the Bills came out to Denver. So, and the Broncos have proven that they got the capability of beating the Bills. So, like I said, everything's looking good. We're getting healthy at the right time. The team, they got the week off to rest. Hopefully, there's no rust involved. If it is rust, go ahead and get it out to now, because Saturday, you got to be ready. You got to be locked in. You got to be ready to take. You got to be ready to take care of business. Serious business. Oh, excuse me. Now, which brings me to this last point, because I'm going to wrap this up quickly. Now, one thing that does irritate me about this game is that I prefer this game be on a Sunday. I did not want to be the first game in this division round series. The Broncos will be playing the Bills at 4:30 Eastern this Saturday. So that put me at a tough crossroads, because I don't know, man, because I just don't know. I'm going to watch the game, but it's going to be a little dicey, for this Saturday. So, but nonetheless, whatever happens is going to happen. So I'm not gonna, I am superstitious when it comes to sports, but at the end of the day, how the team performs on the football field is going to overpower my superstition. Either going to handle their business and win, or they're not, and they're going to lose. But yeah, I think that's going to be about it. As far as the game, I think I spoke when I need to speak. Which brings my final point. Denver Broncos, regardless of everything I say, there's the one thing I've been saying for a couple weeks, and I'm still going to stand by that today. You have the number 1 seed in the AFC. With that being said, you better go to the Super Bowl. You better win it. There's no, I hope they go. There's no, I feel like they can get there. They got to get, no, fuck that. You better go to the Super Bowl and win. And I feel like every fan that's every NFL fan that's a fan of an NFL team that clinches that 1 seed should have that same mentality. Your team clinches the 1 seed, you should have that mentality of telling them that they better go to the Super Bowl. Seahawks fans, that goes for you too. Your team's the number 1 seed in the NFC. Y'all should have that same mentality. Tell your Seahawks they better go to the Super Bowl, and mean that, because if you're the 1 seed and you do not get to that Super Bowl, then your season is an abject failure. If you get to the Super Bowl and you lose to a lesser team in the Super Bowl, your season is a disappointment. There's no way to look at it. I don't care about all the accolades that went down the regular season in regards to our defense. If our boys are not in New Orleans with more points than whoever comes out the NFC and hoisting that 4th Lombardi, this season is an abject failure. And there's no other way to look at it. So yes, I still stand by you. You got the 1 seed. You better go to the Super Bowl. And that's going to be that. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not going to repeat myself again. I'm not going to tell you again. But yeah, with that being said, good luck Denver Broncos on Saturday. Like I said, one last time, just handle your business, do your job, and you should come out of there with the win. That's that. So that's all I really got for this video. I'll be back probably Monday. I'll say maybe two. No, I'll say Monday. I'll come back Monday. Win or lose, we'll recap it. If the Broncos lose, we'll recap the game and do like a season-ending thing, whatever. But if the Broncos win, we'll recap the game. Then I'll come back later next week and we'll talk more about the AFC title game. But as far as like the other six teams that are still in the dance, best of luck in y'all games this weekend. I can't wish you the best of luck, Buffalo Bills, because you're playing my team. So in that case, I had to wish you bad luck because I want to win. But made a better team win this game, I guess. So, yeah, that's all I got for now. So I'm going to ride up out of here. Y'all have a good night. And I will catch y'all Monday.